What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway here with AllSooners, alongside by John Hoover at the stadium. Oklahoma is getting ready for the regular season finale on Saturday against the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Lubbock at Jones A&T Stadium. We'll be making the trip down there this weekend as the Sooners got to bowl eligibility. They don't have to win it, but they want to try and get to that 7-win mark, extend that winning season streak, of course, this weekend as the Sooners battle the Red Raiders to wrap up the first regular season under Brent Venables. Today, Brent Venables held his weekly press conference. Couple of cleanup things off the top here before we dive into some of the things Brent had to say, and, of course, look at the Texas Tech game. Andrew Rame, who missed last Saturday, warmed up but then didn't actually play in the game. He tweeted just a little before we started recording that he had surgery today, so I'm going to go ahead and assume he's not going to play this weekend. Maybe the bowl. We'll see how things go. He tweeted that he hopes for it's a quick recovery, so looks like no Andrew Rame this weekend. Expect more Rob Conjal. And then on a much darker note, Daniel Parker suspended indefinitely from the team. Brent Venables didn't offer an update today, but reports yesterday that he is not going to be with the team moving forward. You got more details on that one.
Yeah, the Tulsa World and the Oklahoman reported yesterday that on the day after the West Virginia game on November 13th, Daniel Parker was accused of hitting his girlfriend. His girlfriend said that he woke her up, told her to get out. This argument ensued, and he allegedly slugged her. What the charges are as of right now: domestic abuse, simple assault with assault and battery with a deadly weapon, and there was a stalking charge that has also been reported, not on this current police report. But just makes you, I don't know, wonder what the situation was there. He's 23, he's almost 24 years old, fifth-year senior, coming out of Missouri, transfer from Missouri, tight end. Tried to get on the field a lot this year, tried to make a difference, had some good plays here and there, but things went sideways at some point after that West Virginia game, which was his first start of the season, by the way. So, yeah, Brent Venables does not have an update as of today's press conference, but my guess would be that Daniel Parker's done in a Sooner uniform, pending, the investigation. It could be something that turns out to be nothing, or it could be something that turns out to be extremely serious. We have to wait and see.
Yeah, AllSooners will provide more updates as we know. But yeah, Parker, obviously the Missouri transfer, was going to be a one-year player here, and that looks like that year is probably, like we've said, we can assume cut short.
Yep.
And we'll find out more on Andrew Rame, obviously, as time goes on as well. So, looking ahead on a much more positive note for Oklahoma, we talked about it after the game on Saturday on the field with Ross. It was a huge recruiting weekend for the Sooners. They had a jillion guys here, and they're already reaping the benefits of that. 2 commits already this week. More are expected. Ashton Sanders, along with Taylor Wine, a couple of defensive guys, both have already announced commits. More are expected. Brent Venables, he said, it's looking pretty positive so far.
He said that's what you hope for when you have 40 guys on campus on a Saturday night. 4 different classes were represented: 23s, 24s, 25s, and 26s. All kinds of positions, a lot of defensive guys, as you can imagine. They've got plenty of 5-stars in town. They're trying to get some guys to flip. Well, nobody flipped yet, but there's still there's crystal balls out there, and there's future cast projections out there that players are going to flip. I've got a couple of calls in to some players, some guys that have committed and some guys that are thinking about committing. So we'll have that at allsooners.com. But yeah, man, he said it's what I asked him to do, and I just basically read the narrative to you at allsooners.com. I want y'all to check that out and watch the video, because he really pulls back the curtain, Brent does, and talks about the logistics.
It kind of stressed me out a little bit.
That's because my follow-up was, Brent, was that more fun or was it more stressful? But I decided not to follow it up because it was about an 8-minute answer.
Yeah.
Whew. So, but no, it was a lot of logistics, a lot of people doing a lot of things, meeting a lot of needs on a Saturday, actually on a Thursday, then a Friday, Friday night, going to the movies, Saturday, game day, hanging out at the stadium all day, going to meetings, Sunday, breakfast at Brent's house. It's like, whoa, that's too much, Brent, slow down. But I let him tell the story. It's all one big quote. Check it out at allsooners.com.
Yeah, no, it was, obviously you think of these guys visiting, you just think of they have them in, they bring them to the game, but it is a full weekend deal, and like we said, Oklahoma reaping the benefits of that already. 2 commits and likely more coming, so allsooners.com. Be sure to keep up with us as whenever the guys announce, you'll know about it on AllSooners, and also get to see what they look like a little bit with some short highlight reels as well of the commits. So another thing Brent Venables dove into today that was kind of interesting. Like we said, Oklahoma did hit the 6-win mark. They are going to play a bowl game. That is going to happen. We are going to go bowling in the month of December. Brent Venables not a big fan of opt-outs, which is something that's just kind of the reality of college football in 2022. Obviously, Oklahoma fans remember there was a lot last year, guys who go to the NFL, hit the transfer portal, what have you. Brent Venables was pretty honest today in that he felt like, he said he wants to see some loyalty to your teammates in the program to finish the season out before you turn on to the next level or what have you. It's made some, fans have caught, attention of it. Fans like it, of course, but I don't know how realistic it is.
Yeah, it's not realistic to expect guys to not opt out when they get a draft grade back. They explore they come here to go to the NFL. This is a feeding ground for the NFL. They come here to do that, okay?
Right.
They get their draft grade back because that's what they do in December. The guys who are draft eligible say, hey, NFL, check me out. What do you think about my draft grade? The NFL Underclassmen Advisory Committee lets them know. First round, day 2, day 3, 3rd through 5th round, whatever. They tell them these things, and then the players say, yeah, I can live with that, and opt out. And you can't hold it against a player for wanting to earn.
It's hard to. Yeah.
And start their careers and start training, because the combine and the evaluations and the pro day means so much in the spring that you've got to be ready for that. And by being ready for it, that means you might not play a meaningless bowl game for a 6-6 team in the month of December. Maybe you're going to opt out. So who's it going to be, Josh? That's the question.
Yeah. Maybe
Anton
a lot of
Harrison.
candidates. Yeah.
Maybe Andrew Rain coming off that injury. We don't know. Might see Wanye Morris. He's draft eligible. You might see Chris Murray. He's draft eligible.
I would think.
You might see Jalen Redmond as a guy who's coming off again knee injury. You want to maximize that earning potential by getting into the draft, getting worked out, getting surgery, whatever it is. You opt out of the last game you're going to play so you can get your NFL career started.
Yeah, I would think Eric Gray and Marvin Mims are big candidates for that too. Those are two guys who you expect to be NFL players.
I agree, but at the same time, I think the makeup that those guys have are what Brent Venables is talking about. No, Coach, I'm going to play for you. I want to be the MVP of the Guaranteed Rate Bowl or something like that.
Yeah. No, sure. Yeah, I just, you could see them as being candidates for it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, we saw it just last year. Obviously, Nick Benito and Delarrin Turner-Yell, Perrin Winfrey, those were all guys that opted out. But then Kenny Brooks, remember, decided to play, and he was asked, did you think about it? And he said, no, I don't want to opt out. I want to play in the game, even though he did go pro afterwards. So
he opted out the bowl game the year before, the entire season.
The COVID season. Yeah, so it just kind of depends on the guy. So we'll see if Brent Venables' comments and his stance on it has an effect, or if it's just the same. If a lot of guys opt out, I'm sure we'll find out very soon after the game on Saturday.
Brent's constantly recruiting.
Constantly
He's recruiting next year's guys to come back.
Yeah, and like we said before, it's not even the worst thing if some of these guys opt out if they're going to go anyway, because it would force Oklahoma to play some of the younger guys, which is not
happened in the bowl game, and it worked out pretty good.
It did. It sprung board a lot of guys. Jalil Farouk, maybe the biggest benefit of that, right into his offseason. Reggie Grimes, Marcus Stripling, all those guys kind of use that as a jumping off point. We'll see if it happens again, wherever Oklahoma may be at the end of December playing in their bowl game. So before we get there, though, we do have one more game. Oklahoma, Texas Tech on Saturday. The Red Raiders kind of under the radar. I mean, sneakily 6-5. They feel worse than that in some ways, but they do have 6 wins. They have been really good this season at home. Texas walked in there and left with a loss in Lubbock earlier this year. It's the last home game of the year. Senior night for all those guys. It's OU, so it's going to be crazy there in Lubbock. Some of the guys who haven't been there before I asked Eric Gray yesterday, what are these guys kind of said about, the guys who had been there? He had never been there. And he's like, yeah, they say that they're some of the nuttiest fans in the conference. They throw tortillas at you. And it's a bit of a zoo up there, or down there, I should say. So going to be an interesting game for Oklahoma this weekend. Tech runs the offense really, really fast. Another challenge.
About 5.5 hours west of where we're at right now, right? It'll be a long trip.
Straight west. Yeah. Some snow in the forecast. Just come on.
Crazy.
What are we doing?
Texas Tech having a decent year. I think they probably wanted better, but I think we all kind of sold them a little shorter of where they're come up. I think in the preseason we wouldn't have picked them to be 6-5 or a threat to be 7-5. But no, Joey McGuire's done a great job of getting that kind of franchise, that team kind of built into a new image, I guess is the way you'd say it. Just the fact that they're not that wild, wide open offensive, only no defense whatsoever. They actually have a defense. They held Iowa State to 14 points last week, or 10 points. 14-10 was the final score of that game. You can expect a lot of passes from Tyler Shuck. He's the one, although he was 17 of 21 last week against Iowa State, so maybe not.
I don't know what they are.
They run a little wildcat with
Smith
Donovan
in there.
Smith. Yeah, so they're going to do some different things. They're going to show a lot of looks on that offense. Defensively, I don't know what to expect. Tyree Smith, All-American defensive end. Tyree Wilson. He's out, broke his foot. He's opting out for the NFL draft. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking at.
Yeah, no, going to be an interesting game, certainly, like we said.
They lead the nation in plays, what?
Plays
Total
per game, yeah.
Do you remember what we saw down here just 2 days ago?
Yeah.
19 possessions. How many possessions are we going to see on Saturday in Lubbock?
Yeah, we'll see, because, Oklahoma's defense is as confident and is feeling as good as it has since, after the Nebraska game, probably. We'll see if they can keep those good vibes going, and I feel like this sounds very similar to what we said about the West Virginia game. Remember, that team was kind of but they've been really good this year at home, and Oklahoma left there with a loss, so we'll see what happens on Saturday in Lubbock. We'll be there. Myself, John Hoover, Ryan Chapman, back from the dead, back from his flu. He'll be making the trip with us as well to Lubbock, Texas for the regular season finale, Oklahoma and the Red Raiders at Jones AT&T Stadium. AllSooners.com, the place to be. Tons of coverage there for you. Hear from Brent Venables today in his presser, as well as Lebby and Roof yesterday, and a whole slew of players, including quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, lots of preview coverage leading up to the start of that game on Saturday, and we'll be there for you in Lubbock. Going to be a full day. We're waiting until Saturday morning to head down there, so it's going to be a jaunt down to Lubbock, but it'll be a good one. Oklahoma and Texas Tech to round out the regular season. That's it for now. For John Hoover, I'm Josh Callaway. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in Lubbock.